Welcome to the Vault Studios NFL podcast, an Australian twist on all things NFL. The boys are cracking into a nice cold beer from Burnley Brewing. Let's join them.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, JA, and I'm joined by my crippled yet very beautiful friend, Richard Garraway. How are you, buddy?
I'm okay, I guess.
Do you want to tell the world what you did, Richard, last Thursday night?
So, after playing spectacularly for most of the flag football game for the mighty Croydon Gamecocks, I saw a duck of a pass go out, and I was like, ooh,
Great.
I'm going to pick this off.
Yep.
And as I pushed off to go and get it, I just blew my Achilles.
You did the oldest of old man injuries, the Achilles.
The oldest of old man injuries, 100%. And
It was
anyone who's ever done it, it hurts. It really hurts.
I've never done it because I'm not quite an old man yet. I'm verging on it, but I'm not quite an old man yet. And I'm sure I will have those injuries when I get older. You weren't in. I wouldn't have said you were too comfortable afterwards, but now in a full. Is it a cast to your knee?
It's above my knee, so
wow.
it's all to hold it all in one spot. So, fun.
Well, that's good. You can just do plenty more content for the Vault. Although at the moment we don't need content because we're pumping out content like it's going out of fashion. I'm not sure if everyone's seen. Obviously, myself and Richie are players over in the local Gridiron League over here. I've launched a podcast with Gridiron Victoria. We interviewed, even if you're not a Gridiron Victoria player, you don't even know what it is. I interviewed Heather Marini yesterday, who is the first female Division I positional coach in the history of college football, history of the world. She's a former Gridiron player from Victoria and coach from Victoria, so we know her quite well, and she was outstanding. So if you haven't get it, it's on YouTube, it's on the podcast feed, the Gridiron Victoria podcast with Heather Marini. Even if you're not from Gridiron Victoria, you will get a lot from it. She was outstanding story. Yeah, really cool story from basically being a personal trainer, a trainer for her boyfriend's, under 19s football team to coaching Brown University's quarterbacks. It's in the space of about 10 years. It's insane. So have a listen to it and enjoy it. Also, obviously, the college boys joined the podcast crew last week, so they're prepping up to get their first thing going. I think we're all raring up for the draft now. Myself and Corey, the great man Corey from the Fantasy Football Podcast. Forget about Lewis. No one cares about Lewis anymore. I'm all about Corey now. He's locked down an interview, which we're doing Friday night. I'm not going to release it yet because sometimes these don't happen, and I don't want to promise the world and then it not happen. So big things coming from the Vault. Make sure you get around us. Make sure you, subscribe. Click the little bell if you're on YouTube. Check everything out. Share it around if you can. A share goes an absolute long way. So really appreciate it. And one other thing we really appreciate is our Patreons. I still haven't done the helmet for Chase Winovich. I'm sorry, guys. I've just been flat out the last few days. I will get it done in the next couple of days, which one of you will be taking that beautiful helmet home. And this is what you're all going for this month. If you want a chance to win this Mark Andrews signed Baltimore Ravens helmet, and the second prize is a box of beer from Burnley Brewing and a beautiful stubby holder like this one here. If you want a chance to win either of those prizes, sign up to our Patreon. $10 a month. It's really nothing, and you get a good opportunity to win something that's quite valuable that you'll be able to cherish. Or, you know what? If you want, sell it on. It's up to you. I don't mind what you do with it. It's yours. So, that's a Patreon. And Burnley Brewing, of course, thanks to our awesome sponsors there. I'm enjoying a draft like I normally am. I love it. I've had a few too many drafts on the weekend, so I'm just a bit of a slow sipper tonight on the draft, Richie. Paying for it physically. But it was a great long weekend. So that's it, guys. Not a massive show tonight. As I said, we've got a lot of content that's coming out. We're not doing the defensive all-pro team this week. We'll do that next week just because I don't want to overload with too much this week. And the offensive team's going up for voting starting Wednesday afternoon. So don't want to overload it too much. So we'll do that next week. But plenty of news. And let's start with a little bit of Miami Dolphins love. Kyle Van Noy, who is cut one season into his 4-year, $50 million deal. I know teams are going to make some cuts, but I was really shocked with this one. Really shocked.
I mean, the only thing I haven't done is looked into what this is going to cost them or what they're saving by cutting him, 1 year into a 4-year deal. I mean, that's a It's a pretty early cut.
No, they're basically paying him to cut him.
They're what? Sorry.
They're basically paying him to get him off the roster.
Yeah,
So
it's a strange one.
It's been some heavy backlash because a lot of I don't think Kyle Van Noy is the greatest player in the world. I've never been like a huge fan of him. I think the Patriots made him what he was, simple as that. And he got paid for it, and that was awesome. But he played pretty well for Miami last year. They were a very good defense last year, and if not anything, he was touted as kind of the leader of that defense, or flouted, as DJ would say. He was flouted as the leader of that defense, and a guy that all the young players looked up to and rallied behind. It's just such a Miami Dolphins move to be like, all right, we've got this leader. We've just paid him. It's looking all right. He's playing well enough. Like, he's not playing terribly. Like, we have to cut him because of performance. And then they cut him anyway, just to save a few bucks. It's bizarre.
Well, the guaranteed money for that contract was $30 million.
Yeah. So
it basically pays him $30 million for 1 year.
It's insane. It blows my mind. And then from all reports, there was no issues behind the scenes. He was as shocked as anyone else was. That's why I thought there's a lot of guys that are going to get cut. A lot of mid-tier to high average starters. Solid starters. And if they're going to get cut this year because of the cap, it's just the bottom line. It's going to happen. And it's already started. But this one was bizarre to me. I could go through their roster and think of 10 to 15 guys you'd cut before Kyle Van Noy, and probably 2 or 3 you'd cut to save the same money that would be better to cut than Van Noy. So I was surprised. And Dolphins fans, I guess this is just trust the process, trust Brian Flores. Hopefully he can get it done. And the Dolphins weren't done making moves this week. They traded for Isaiah Wilson. I'm not sure if you remember Isaiah Wilson, Rich. He was picked 29 in the draft last year by the Tennessee Titans. Big tackle out of Georgia.
Basically said he'll never play for the Titans in a tweet a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, so that was last week. Then he deleted it. He's been on the non-injury PUP list since December, since week 14. He'd only played 3 snaps before that. There was an incident with him in preseason. He's just been a straight up moron since entering that building. And they apparently took a bit of a risk on him. A lot of people thought this would be the case with him. And there's people that were terrified of drafting him. Everyone thought the Titans reached a little bit, but I think they thought, well, the potential really outweighs what the ramifications could be. Unfortunately for them, the worst possible thing could have happened. They traded him to the Dolphins today for a 7th round pick, and they also gave a 7th round pick. So they swapped 7th round picks just to get rid of Isaiah Wilson. If that's not a dump, I've never seen one. I was reading a bit about it today, thinking like, why would the Dolphins? I guess the Dolphins just want to take a swing at a 1st round pick. Hey, I would if I was another.
Who has a 5th year option?
Has a 5th year option.
Rookie deal. Yeah,
because you get the deal. So basically as if the Dolphins are drafting him now. But what I didn't know is that I'm just having a blank on the coach. Flores went to the same high school as Isaiah Wilson, and they have known each other for a very long time. This is what the quote was. They've known each other for a long time. And basically the report is if anyone can get through to him, it's Brian Flores. And if Brian Flores can't, they'll just cut him and not care because they've given up a 7th round pick. They don't give a crap. People cut 7th round picks every day.
It doesn't hurt you money-wise either. You're not taking any risk. The worst place to get drafted in the NFL, if you're a draft prospect, is those last 10 picks in the 1st round. Because you have the 5th year bolted on, where they can keep you. The money isn't as good as it is at the top. You are far better to be drafted in the first couple of picks of the 2nd round if you're going to be a success. Because you get released out of your contract early. Now you get a little bit less up front. But if you're going to be any good, your big money contract is coming earlier.
Yeah, it's why we've seen teams grabbing running backs now in the late first, because obviously teams that want to pay running backs, it's very well known. Teams that do are morons, Cowboys. But yeah, teams that pay running backs are morons. And if you take them at the end of the 1st round instead of the start of the 2nd, you get the 5th year. Doesn't matter. Yeah. And it's for a lot less than if you need to pay him that 5th year. So that's why a lot of teams are doing that. They're trading back up. Clyde Edwards-Helaire with the Chiefs last year, they traded back in to get him just because they didn't want to get him in the 2nd round. They wanted to get that 5th year option. So teams will do that. But yeah, I actually think this is a good move. Before I read it, I was like, you know what? It's not a bad move. They're just taking a swing at a 1st round pick. Worst case scenario, they cut him. Who cares? It's a 7th round pick. But then when I read that Flores knows him personally, it's just such a Dolphins thing to do, to pick up this guy and he turns into some sort of superstar. So I hope he does. The Dolphins'
Ah.
offensive line has been dreadful, and I always like to hope for the better for people, for players. He's talented.
I'm the same. I always hope it works out. I hope it works out for him because right now he's going to finish his career with 1 year of money.
Yeah.
Like if he doesn't sort this out,
he's a kid. He's a kid as well. Like these guys are young men. They don't. Who knows? And I said I don't know Isaiah Wilson's past, or I don't know anything about him. I could probably find it, but I'm not that interested in, to be honest. All I know is he might have had a bad upbringing. He might have had some bad influences in college. He might have some bad influences now that he's in the NFL. He might have someone telling him to do all this sort of stuff, telling him you don't want to play for the Titans. You need to try and get out of this. You don't know, but he's a young man. I hope he works it out quick, because if he doesn't, I reckon in 10 years' time he'll be sitting at home wherever he is, going, "Damn, I really." Whether he was going to be a superstar or not, just being a 10-year pro or something like that, because tackles that are talented don't tend to go out of the NFL too quick because they're so needed.
Just a quick rundown of like this guy's cost, to the to the now Dolphins. So he's going to cost them 1.1 million this year, 1.6 million, and then 2.1 in 2023, and then you can option him obviously for the fifth-year option. Now that's an average, and it's calculated totally different.
Yeah, but it's not a lot though. It's certainly not like high money.
Well, let's cut Van Noy. That cost them 30 million.
Yeah. I think it's a great move by the Dolphins, and I thought it was even better once I heard that Flores knew him. I hope it works out for him. I really hope it works out for everyone, except for the Titans. Enjoy that 7th-round pick.
Swap. 7th-round pick swap.
Let's move on. Franchise tags met a deadline today. Brandon Sheriff, Marcus May, and Justin Simmons all were tagged. Brandon Sheriff was one of our guys for the All-Pro that I mentioned last week, the right guard for the Washington football team. Really, really good football player. It's his 2nd consecutive year being tagged. I can promise you as an offensive lineman, he's not enjoying this, because offensive linemen put their bodies on the line all the time, and they don't want to get hurt and not have a long-term contract. So I'm tipping this will be the last chance Washington get to keep him, and I reckon they'll probably look to get a deal done pretty soon. I don't think they'll wait too long to get a deal done for him, because he's an outstanding player. He's been consistent for 7 years now. I said this was, I guess, what we said, Richie. He's now into his 7th year in the NFL, and he hasn't hit the free agent market yet because he was a 1st-round pick, 5th-year option, tagged. It's 7 years before you have to give them a long-term deal. The guy's unfortunately into the back end of his career now. Now he's in his prime of it, but it's trending backwards now. He's going to have the chances he plays for 14 years are slim in the NFL. That's the bottom line. So he's probably not going to play for longer than he's already played for. And he's just looking for that deal. And he'll get it. He'll get it end of this year if he plays well again. But man, he must be frustrated.
Sorry to interrupt. Are tags closed? I thought they still ran into tomorrow.
Yeah, there's still some more time. These are just the 3 that have been done. There's the only 3 that have been done. And in saying that, I don't feel too sorry for him. He's expected, once salary cap changes, to be paid $18.3 million this year to play right guard.
Guaranteed.
We shouldn't feel sorry for these guys. I just, you know how I feel about offensive linemen. Offensive linemen shouldn't be treated like this, Richie. Treat your running backs like this. Give your linemen long-term deals. Don't be jerks. All right? Their bodies are on the line for you guys. Look after them.
We always say that teams built in the trenches and under center.
Yeah, 100%.
It's O-line, D-line, quarterback.
Apparently, there's a deal right now that the Houston Texans want to send Watson to the Jets for 3 first-round picks, so 2 this year and 1 next year, and Quinn Williams. And the Jets are saying, we'll give you the 3 first. We're not giving you Quinn Williams. That's what stopped. This is just rumor, obviously, but that's apparently what's stopping the deal. They're just like, we're not giving you Quinn Williams. He's an elite interior defensive lineman. We're not giving him. Simple as that. You just can't find these guys as often. Their backing is going to be like the next Donald or Watt sort of thing. That's what they're thinking, and they don't want to give that up, which proves your point. You don't know where you're going to find these guys again. They don't come along guys that talented.
And the other big hurdle point for a trade like that is will Watson sign off?
I would.
Like he's got a no trade clause. They're rare, but he's got one.
I heard they were talking. I was listening to a podcast today. I think it was the Ringer NFL podcast. They were talking about Watson, and basically that the owner McNair has to go, that just fly to him and just sit down with him and go, mate, what are we going to do? Tell me what you have to do. I'm in your hands here. You tell me whatever you want to keep you in this town. Tell me whatever you want, and I'll make it work. Because they're not going to get the value back. They're losing value. Even if with 3 first-round picks and Quinn and Williams, they're losing. You think how long it took the Texans to get to Deshaun Watson? 17 years that franchise existed before they got Deshaun Watson. 17 years. I can tell you there were some dark days at the Cowboys with Quincy Carter and Drew Henson before Tony Romo came along, and then everyone was like, oh, Tony Romo sucks. I'm like, have you been watching the quarterbacks for the past decade? Ask the Jets. Mark Sanchez is their poster boy for the past 15 years.
Yeah,
But
fumble.
Like, that's what I mean.
Two AFC championships.
Yeah, I was looking the other day. Ask the Jaguars. They took, not only did they take Blake Bortles, who ended up being a bit of a bust, not as bad, they also took Brandon Whedon in the top 5 as well a few years ago. Like, they've made, Brandon Whedon was the Browns. Who was?
Yeah, Browns took Brandon Whedon.
Oh, Blaine Gabbert, sorry. Blaine Gabbert. They took Blaine Gabbert in the top 10 a few years ago too, who just won a Super Bowl with the Bucks.
We talked about this. I don't think he won one. He was on
the
team.
He did. He was there.
He won one as much as I did. We talked about this. We'll talk about this last week. Quarterbacks in the first round are 50-50 at absolute best, and that's being so kind.
Yeah, it depends what you rate as success. Like, some people say Bortles worked out all right. Like, some people actually go to Bortles, no, he wasn't quite a bust. He threw 40 touchdowns one year. If the Jaguars knew how to use him, who knows? Like, I don't know. I think he was a bust. I think if you only last 4 years for your team or 5 years for your team and then you're released, you're a bust if you're a top 5 pick, 100%. But some people don't consider that. Like, some people don't consider, some people consider Baker Mayfield a bust. I don't think he's a bust. But some people are saying, well, what you want with your number 1 pick? Is it too early though? Because Lamar Jackson has won an MVP already, and Josh Allen looks like one of the best quarterbacks in the league last year. He was in contention for it.
But before that, he looked awful.
He looked dog shit. I agree. But that's the thing.
What are we doing here?
You can argue any point with it. You can go, no, Baker's a bust. There's 3 quarterbacks that should have been taken over him that year.
I'm not going to bust anybody while you're still in your rookie deal.
Agreed. I'm the same. And I'm a big thing on, I can remember, then we're getting a bit off track here, I don't care. I remember AJ Hawk when he was drafted by the Green Bay Packers. He played 15 years at linebacker for them. He led them in tackles like 11 of the 15 years, started the whole time, true pro, legend, but he was an 8th overall pick, and he was never like the superstar. So everyone was like, oh, he was a bust. I'm like, if you go back to Green Bay in whatever year that was and go, hey, you're going to have this guy for 15 years. He's going to lead you in tackles for 11 of those 15 years. He's going to go to 3 Pro Bowls. He's going to win your defensive MVP 3 times. Do you want him with the 8th pick? They would jump at that. Any team in the league would jump at that. Like, that's the thing. Like, people just busts and people.
I'll tell you what busts are. Jamarcus Russell is a bust. Paxton Lynch was a bust. Brady Quinn was a bust.
But everyone lets Paxton Lynch get away with it because they drafted him in the back end of the first round. It's like, oh, well, it doesn't matter.
Round.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like,
bust. Josh Rosen, bust. Tim Tebow, bust. EJ Manuel. I mean, I could go on and on.
Timmy Tebow won a playoff game against Pittsburgh Steelers. Do you know what?
Slam boy.
If actually, Slam boy. Tim Tebow did one thing that I'll always remember him for, and that was get Josh McDaniels fucking fired. That was you don't reach for Tim Tebow in the first round and have him suck and keep a job. There you go. And then the sliding doors moments was then he screwed over the Colts, and then Frank Reich got hired. So you know what? Thank you, Tim Tebow. You're not a bust in my eyes. You did some great things for us.
As you said, like, you could go on forever. Even guys like Matt Lyon, these guys are Heisman Trophy winners. Their career was terrible. Christian Ponder was drafted 12th overall. JP Lossman, I think he was like 20-something.
No, I think JP Lossman wasn't he top 5, JP Lossman, to the Bills? No, he was back then. He was back then. There are so many. So many. But actually, I'm not sure if you saw, I've got in our rundown, I've got future segments I wanted to do. I wanted to do it after the draft, previous draft trades, winners and losers, like go through just the trades from the last few years. There are some very interesting ones that you would think, like, for example, the Jared Goff trade. So the Jared Goff trade, right, they traded up to the Jaguars. They swapped with the Jaguars to get Jared Goff, who then The Jaguars then drafted Jalen Ramsey, who then the Rams gave up 2 first-round picks to get. So technically, they could have just drafted Jalen Ramsey number 2 overall or 1 overall and saved themselves 4 first-round picks. Like, it's just the sliding doors moments to get him. And then they had to dump another first-round pick to get rid of him. That's how bad they want. It's very funny.
Washington, what they gave up to get RG3.
So that one's stiff because I remember RG3's rookie year. He was outstanding. Like, he was the next thing.
Anything. Could have been anything.
People, if you've never watched RG3's rookie year, go back and watch it. The games are still there. Watch them on condensed. He was, as a Cowboys fan, I remember just sitting there going, we're fucked. We are done. Like, this guy, he was a winner.
Twice a year, 10 years.
And he was a winner. Like, the team just rallied around him. It was unbelievable. It was like a phenomenon. And then just the knee just went. It was just gone. Just like that. Like, he was one of the bigger. And then Andrew Luck, similar, you know. I know they didn't trade up for him, the Colts, but Andrew Luck, they've been unlucky, you know. They probably thought they had 10 more years of Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
So, like, if Andrew Luck's playing on the Colts, he's playing on the Colts last year, they're probably a Super Bowl. Like, they're probably a chance to win it. He was that good. Yeah. So, it's it. Yeah, but these are the things I want to look back at this, like the sliding door moments. But the Rams one is so funny. They've basically given up 5 first-round picks to get Stafford and Jalen Ramsey when they could have just drafted Jalen Ramsey. The first overall pick. Very good. Just quick, the last couple of tags have happened. Marcus May, safety for the Jets. Outstanding safety, really goes under the radar because he plays for the Jets. I'm tipping that's a Robert Saleh move, saying no way he's leaving. Get him back. He's the leader, does a lot of different roles. Since Jamal Adams got traded, he's kind of filled that role. And if you've watched some Jets game, he does I don't think he's quite the athlete that Jamal Adams is, but he's better in coverage than Jamal Adams. He's a really good all-round safety.
Yeah, and I'd expect. Do Justin Simmons, and then I'll give a quick take on that.
Yeah, and then Justin Simmons from the Denver Broncos, who was tagged. For what it's worth, Pro Football Focus have had him the number 1 safety for the past 3 years. Again, this is the guy you've got to watch. He passes the eye test. He's just one of those guys that can do everything, plays free safety, but does everything at a high level, covers slot guys, can blitz, can hit, can play deep, can do all the things you need to do that you need modern safeties to do. So those 2 guys are kind of the same kettle of fish for me, and both very worthy of the franchise tag and what they're paying them.
I expect all 3 of those to get deals done, extended deals. They won't play on these franchise tags. I'll be shocked if these 3 guys did.
I think Marcus May definitely. The only thing that keeps me from Justin Simmons, remember it's their choice, Rich. The player might go,
you can say no. You can say no.
Simmons might go, well, you know what? If this goes poorly this year, Vic Fangio is going to get fired. We all know it. We all know what's happening. I don't want to back in that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
or be here if it happens, be stuck here with some other coach that comes in and I play terribly. Because a lot of those players that have good success under a coordinator will then try and follow them elsewhere. Like, I remember Terrence Newman, my all-time favorite player, Cowboys player for a long time with Zimmer. When he finished at the Cowboys, he went straight to Zimmer at the Bengals. When Zimmer went to the Vikings, he went straight over to the Vikings. Some guys find where they play well, who they play well with, and they jump around with them. So I don't think he will. I think Saleh's in the first year of a 5-year deal. He's got 3 years minimum, I think. That's what most first coaches get, even if they're really bad. He's got 3 years minimum. I think he's going to want Marcus May around for them, and I think they're going to get a deal. And I think Brandon Sheriff will get a deal for sure. There's no way they're going to let him hit the open market. He's just elite guard. You just don't have to pay them that much to justify not keeping them. You know, that's the nature of it. So I think they'll sign him up for sure. Let's move on. Last story. And again, Rich, 2 weeks in a row, we're thinking, thank heavens the news dropped the day of instead of the day after like it always does. Dak Prescott, Cowboys starting quarterback, he gets his deal. Didn't get it all the way he wanted in the end. A lot of people are saying he did. He got 4 years, $160 million. There was $62 million guaranteed, which is the highest ever by about $1 million. Please keep in mind.
No. 126 is guaranteed.
Sorry. What did I say?
You said 60.
Oh, so 61 or whatever is the signing bonus, which is the highest
66,
signing bonus.
66 the signing bonus.
Highest signing bonus ever. Now, people need to understand the signing bonus is actually better for your initial cap. So people are like, oh, look at all the signing bonus he took. The signing bonus is better for your initial cap hit. The higher it is, it's the more you're dedicating guaranteed. So it's less of a cap hit. That's why people don't get big guarantees. But this is a massive deal. It's $40 million. It's only below Mahomes. Every man and his dog's got an opinion on this. Everyone knows what my opinion is. Dak Prescott's an outstanding quarterback. He's a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. you look back in the history of football, they just don't hit the open market. You know, you can say what you want. Matt Ryan, Carson, like when Carson Wentz got signed, he was a top 10 quarterback. When Jared Goff got signed, he was a top 10 quarterback. Like, I think he's better than both of them comfortably. And I think in a couple of years, all the other quarterbacks like Rodgers and that will catch up and jump him. There'll be people that jump him. But as of right now, it's market value. It's only a 4-year deal. Only the first 2 years are pretty much guaranteed, which ties in with Amari Cooper and Ezekiel Elliott. So in 2 seasons' time, if it's going dreadfully and it's not happening, you cut them all. Or you cut Cooper and Zeke and then you move on with Dak or whatever happens, you trade it. You know what I mean? He wanted the 5-year deal and they didn't give it to him. So actually, people are going, "Oh, Jerry finally had to pay him." It's like, no, the money was always that. They wanted a 5-year. Jerry wanted a 4-year to tie in with the other 3 players. That's what he wanted. He got what he wanted because Dak didn't want to get franchise tagged again, coming off an ankle. This is, you can bag people for all you want for taking that much money and the cap and all that sort of stuff. But this is a really, player-friendly move by the Cowboys. It'd be really easy to just let Dak Prescott tag him again and go, "Well, he broke his ankles. I want to see what he's like next year." It'd be really easy. They're actually backing him in and supporting him and going, "No, you're our guy. We don't care that you got hurt last year. We know you're going to be fine, and we're backing you in," which is a move that the Cowboys haven't done a lot in the past. They've normally walked away from this. So as a Cowboy fan, I love Prescott. Everyone knows I love Prescott. I think he's an outstanding player. I think he's one of the best modern day quarterbacks. He's big, he's fast, he's strong. Does he have some accuracy issues at times? Yes. Can that be improved on? Yes. And that's the bottom. But he's a top 10 guy, and you don't let him hit the market. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, not a lot to add. There's 2 key things you left out. He's also got a no trade now, no tag provision.
Yep.
So even when he's up at the end of this deal, they can't tag him. The no trade is interesting. I remember for a while, like no trades were like the trendy thing. Like they were, every man and his dog used to get them, especially in basketball. But they're rarely handed out now, and you're seeing issues when you do with Watson at Houston right now because he's got to agree to any trade. So
just showing that extra commitment, I think. Which again, it's
100%.
It's giving the player a little bit of power.
Well, it's also a part of that. Hey, we know it's only 4 years, but here's what we'll do: we won't tag you at the end of it. We won't trade you without your permission. All those sorts of things. Basically, most of it, most of that 160. What is it? 160 even. And he can get an additional 4 in bonuses. That's not much.
Nothing, does it?
Most of it's up front. Exactly. Most up front. So the $66 million is going to be paid up front in the signing bonus. He's getting 75 total in the first year. So his actual year one dollars is only like $9 million. But obviously getting the signing bonus, that's the rest. It averages out at around 42.
Do you imagine getting $66 million? Just, here you go, here's a check.
The Cowboys are going to have an out after the end of the 3rd season. So the cap hitting that last year will be minimal because the signing bonus tag offset will be gone.
And it gives Prescott another chance at a big deal. So he's 27, 30 at 31.
31.
Yeah, even if he plays, not up to that standard, it gives him, in 4 years' time, the mid-tier quarterback's probably going to be earning $40 million. He's probably only going to be he'll probably be the 15th paid quarterback in the league by the time this 4-year deal's done, because we know he's going to keep climbing. So he might come back in and go, you know what? And there'll be a quarterback like, maybe the Jets need him. And it's like, yep, we'll give you $40 million again for 5 years. No worries. He's going to get another chance at a huge contract, possibly 2. So I think it's a great contract. Obviously, the Cowboys would prefer to pay him $5 million a year, but that's just not realistic in football.
No.
And the people getting up in arms going, how bloody greedy are these players? Rah, rah, rah. These players should be greedy because as soon as if his play dropped off an inch, they would cut him so quick. The team would turn on him so quickly. Good on him. Get all the money you can, Dak Prescott.
If you're the person who says players are greedy, you're signing with ownership. Yeah. Jerry Jones is worth, what's his net worth? Hang on, I want to finish this round.
Cowboys' net worth is like $4.5 billion. It's the second highest. It's the second highest valued company in the world.
Okay, So Jerry Jones' personal net worth is $8.9 billion. So
His
if
pocket
you're the person who says players are greedy or they hold out or they leave in free agency or whatever, quite frankly, you're an ass. You're an ass because you're signing with the 8.9 billionaire.
Yep.
Who
He could
still-
pay and not even notice it. He could pay
Well-
all of it up front and not even notice it out of his bank account.
And continue on the rant. Do you know how much a beer is in that stadium?
Yeah, I do actually. I've had about
So do I, because I've had way too many. And the last one I said was Sammy. Oh my God.
He's back.
I know. He turned up at my house unannounced.
I love him.
Yeah,
Anyway.
me too. So these owners are fine. If you're the guy who's you're just siding with your team. You don't want to lose or you don't want to pay so you can get more good players at less money. If you're that person, like DJ, you're kind of an asshole.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I said. The players should
doing
make
it.
as much money as they can. I don't get the it doesn't help the team. I'm like, yeah, but it's the market rate. Like, it'd be like me going for a job and being like, hey, look, I don't want you to pay me that amount. It doesn't help this team here. You know, I want the company to succeed, and the company that's making $1 billion a year going, all right, dickhead, no worries. We'll pay you way less. We don't give a shit. It's market value and it's what people are worth. And he's worth it and he's earned it. And if you don't think he's that good a quarterback, that's fine. Disagree with that. But the bottom line is, if the Cowboys didn't pay him, I guarantee you there are probably 20 games, half the league minimum lining up going, what do you want?
We'll pay him.
Do you reckon the Browns, like, honestly, you reckon if you hit free agency, the Browns aren't going, hey, Dak?
The only problem is they're built right now for a rookie quarterback contract.
You reckon they wouldn't be like, hey, you intrigued enough to come over on a big...
I'm sure they'd call his agent.
I'm sure they'd call. Yeah, that's what I mean. I think every team would call. I reckon even the Ravens would call. They're like, hey, what are we looking at?
If you don't, you're doing a disservice to your club. If you're sitting there saying, yeah, we've got Mahomes, we don't need Dak, you're still doing your team a disservice. If you don't pick up the phone and just find out what the price is,
because you know what?
You're not doing your job. That's your job. You're the GM.
Yeah.
Like,
and what if
to explore all of them?
What if the Chiefs called Dak Prescott and he went, I want to win a couple of Super Bowls. And this would never happen. But what if he went, I'm happy to take $10 million a year to sit on the bench for you guys for a couple of years.
That's why you got to call. It's like if
you never know.
Pick. If you're the first round pick in the draft and you go, oh no, we're not trading it.
Gettleman.
Dickhead.
Gettleman.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
You should be sitting there taking every single phone call, listening to every single offer, because who knows what's out there.
Yep. And that was Gettleman at the Giants. Remember James Doino from Bleed Big Blue just going nuts. He said, I didn't even answer the phone because I knew I wanted Barkley. And everyone was like, you're a moron. What if someone was offering you 4 first-round picks? Like, there's a Barkley in the draft every year. I'm sorry. There is a Barkley every year. The fact that you didn't answer your phone, like, you're a disgrace. You don't know what people... Maybe the Cowboys were calling to offer you freaking Zeke and a first-round pick to get up there. You never know. Like, you didn't answer your phone. You don't even know who it was. Like, you're right, though. If you don't ask... Either way, I think Prescott deserves the deal. I'm happy for him. He was putting together one of the most phenomenal seasons I've ever seen last year. If Prescott doesn't get hurt last year, the Cowboys win that division. I'm 100% certain about it because he
picked it preseason.
He wins 3 more games than Dalton. Now, I'm not saying they're going to be awesome, but they win 9 games with Prescott if he doesn't get hurt.
Dalton missed games with COVID.
Yeah. They
just give them those as wins and they won the division.
Exactly. They literally had 1 more win to win the division. So if he played last year, they win that division. He was on track to break a lot of records. He was going to be 5,000-yard passer. Now, he had to be because of the injuries to that team, but he carried that team for 5 weeks. And when he got hurt, it was devastating. Everyone was devastated. The other team were devastated for him. It was horrible.
And it's also when the D started to get healthy.
Yeah.
So it was at the worst time. I mean, it's never.
I remember messaging you the week after being like, that'd be right. Because that defense played really well the next week because Vander came back and the D lineman came back and the corners came back. And I'm just being like, that'd be right. You watch. The defense will end up being real good for the rest of the year. And they weren't good, but they were way better. Like, they were way better for the rest of the year than because they were dreadful those first few weeks. But yeah, Prescott, congratulations. I think well deserved. I'd say we're very pro player here, Richie, at the Vault. We like players getting paid and getting rewarded because our opinion is the best. We want the best players playing in the best situation, and the Cowboys are the best situation for Dak Prescott. So I'm glad they got the deal done. Didn't have to become a tag. And you know what? The story's done now for the Cowboys. Prescott's signed. Have any issue you want with it, there'll be people crowing about it for the next week. Oh, what a dumb deal, rah, rah, rah. They'll get over it because soon another quarterback will get signed and everyone will get the shits about that. So it'll be over. The drama's gone. Everyone knows who their quarterback's going to be. Free agency's like, he was the number one free agent this year. That's dropped off. No one's chasing him now. I think other deals are going to start to come now from this because this is what I think everyone was waiting to fall. This domino to fall was basically showing like, it was going to line up what everyone else does, including in the draft. So, there were some teams hoping he hit free agency. I guarantee it, teams like the Jets and the Jaguars and that were hoping he hit free agency. Going, if we can get Prescott, we don't have to. We can then draft a really talented guy instead of a quarterback. Unless you've got maybe not the Jaguars, they're probably pretty set on Lawrence, but the other guys. Do you reckon the Jets really want to take Fields or Wilson number 2 if Prescott was there?
I keep coming back to this. We talked about that trade that they'd offered for Watson.
I'd roll it up.
Do you throw the player in?
Well, I don't think they want Darnold. I think that's the problem. No one wants Darnold.
Well, no. I'm saying, to get that trade done with Houston.
Do you throw Quinn and Williams in?
I think you got to get it done. You got to get.
Deshaun Watson is like we've just talked about Prescott. Like Deshaun Watson, just guys like that just don't come. It's like the people with Russell Wilson going, oh, they want 4 first-round picks. If I'm a team, I'm giving 4 first-round picks.
Top 5 quarterback. He's a top 5 quarterback, guaranteed.
I'm giving 4 first-round picks. There's a chance there's a chance you could get the number 1 pick every year for 5 years, take a quarterback every year for 5 years, and the chances of you getting Russell Wilson someone as good as Russell Wilson are less than trading and getting Russell. Like it's a no-brainer for me. If Watson and Wilson are really on the market, and I don't think Wilson is. I think Watson is, but I don't think I think Watson wants to be. I don't think the Texans want to trade him. I would say they're just ignoring phone calls right now and not wanting to trade him.
Well, they definitely don't want to trade him. He's 26. At least Russell Wilson is what, 33?
32 maybe. Yeah, he's not that old.
But I mean, this guy is in his.
If Watson gets traded, it's one of the biggest moves you'll ever see. Like quarterbacks don't get traded like Deshaun Watson.
And if you can get him, I think the contract's through 2025.
Yeah, he's locked in.
You've got him locked up.
And his money's less than Prescott. He's now the 3rd highest paid. So, yeah, it's going to be. I'll tell you what, I think this was the domino that needed to fall. I think Prescott was a domino because there's no. I'm sorry, no one's lining up for free agency for Jameis Winston to fall from. Jameis Winston's now the consolation prize of free agency. It's if we've got no one else, we'll give him a year. And that's what's going to happen. I'm telling you, Prescott was the domino, and we're going to see some things move now. I really believe it. And it's going to be exciting. This is going to be a great free agency and a great draft.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be really good.
So good. Look, that's it for us tonight, guys. I said just want to do a bit of a shorter show this week. I was thinking it was going to be like 20 minutes, but in true Richie and JA fashion, we got completely off track, which
double.
It's our podcast. We can do what we want. We want to get off track. We can get off track. Thanks to our fantastic friends at Burnley Brewing for sponsoring us. We love you guys and love your support, and we appreciate it very, very much. I'm picking up some beers this week, Richie, so I have to drop off a box for you, mate. That box might have to get you through some Achilles surgery, so I'll drop it off.
I hope not. I so hope.
Yeah, me too. Our Patreons, this is what you're going for this month. The signed Mark Andrews Baltimore Ravens helmet. Current player, really good helmet there. The Baltimore Ravens, we've said it before, such just a classic helmet. I absolutely love the Baltimore Ravens helmet. Thank you everyone for being here. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you join our Patreon if you can. Share it around. Seriously, a share goes an absolutely long way. And I want to just mention All Sports Memorabilia again for helping me get my hands on these on the gear for the Patreon prizes for the first 4 months. I really appreciate it from them. So get around them as well. All in the description below. Richie, my great man. Good luck with your scan tomorrow. I hope you need no surgery. It's going to suck playing flag football Thursday night without you throwing me, dimes, or you ignoring me being wide open and just feeding other people. They need the confidence boost. You don't. Yeah, whatever. Well, thanks, mate. Best of luck tomorrow, and We'll
Cheers.
we'll talk next week.